How about we kick off the stream and enchant Worldle? So it is a 4 mana or 5 mana, either as an enchantment or a creature. That is a rare, and it can be either black or green. Well, Ravenous Baloth. Ooh. Oh, it's a mythic rare? A 4 mana green creature that's a mythic rare. Master of the Wild Hunt. Oh, okay. Trixie. 4 mana green creature that is neither a human nor a shaman. From before 2014. Mono green. Voripede's a 5-drop. Oh, there might be a core set one. Mono green. Mono green mythic at 4. Mono green mythic at 4. And it's not a legendary creature. This feels like something when I really need to get the time down on this one. Because I'm drawing a blank. If it's from a core set, it might be a little tough. I don't know. My mind keeps going to Azuri's Brigade, but Azuri's Brigade is not a mythic rare. There might be some elf that I'm forgetting. 4-drop green elf at rare? No, at mythic? No. I don't know. Let's go with Azuri's Brigade just to get, like, timing. It is not an elf. It's from M10. ROE? Is it RO? Is there something in Worldwake or ROE that I'm missing? If it's from M11, then we're shit out of luck. I don't even remember anything from M11. Okay, it's not from M11. Great. Worldwake ROE. Worldwake ROE Rise. What's from Rise? Rise. Oh, the Vengabus. All right, the Vengabus is coming. I had to go into my Mind Palace and remember all the bad non-Cobblade decks I played around this era. Including the green-white Fauna Shaman Vengevine Squadron Hawk deck. Woo! I miss playing Vengevine. I mean, Vengevine obviously still gets played in dredge style decks or whatever, but I kind of miss the era of playing Vengevine as like a haste green card, like when you actually cast this thing. Like that was dope. Oh, I clicked on the wrong button to say thank you to Amy for the raid. How are you doing, Amy? Thank you for dropping all the kids off at the pool here. I hope you had a good stream. I will be part of the PPR. Some foundations. Ooh, foundations. It's Halloween tomorrow, I guess. Very excited for Friday. Very excited to talk about Thing. You'll know it when you see it, but I'm excited to talk about Thing and do Thing. And I'm being very generic because, God, I love NDAs. Zalukster, back for the 41st month. What up? How you doing? How you been? Hope you had a good time at Vegas, Wheeler. I did have a good Vegas. Yeah. I kind of like Vegas because I don't ever feel that much obligation to do anything other than the event, is what I'm starting to realize. Like, Vegas is the most, I show up, I jam a lamb, and then I go to bed. And that is not, you know, I like the other MagicCon events where I get to do a bunch of stuff. Carmen, I don't want to get you thrown under the bus either. The Venga bus. I'll be very loud about it. Don't worry. I'll be very loud about it. Wish I could have stayed up later. Everyone was going out so late. Yeah, I mean, I like to be in bed at a reasonable-ish time, or at least be at home. But people are like I got messages. Fucking Krim messaged me at like 12:30. He's like, "Hey, what's up? What are we doing?" And I had been in bed for 40 minutes. Huh? ASL? English as a second language. All right. The Hawk Vine was so sick, the discard step Hawk was relevant. Yeah, you would like get all the Hawks and then pitch the Venge Vines. And then you just like next turn, just like wham bam, get back the bus. Ooh, real good. Real good. All right, let's go on to Spellify. Enchantment. Is this enchant player? A one mana red enchantment. One, two. Need for speed? No, of course not. Four, five, six, seven, eight. 1, 2. Enchant player. Curse of Opulence. Okay. Easy peasy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's another aura. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's probably enchant creature. Enchant creature aura. Enchanted creature gets +X/+X. Can flying. For no. When enchanted creature dies, do something. When enchanted creature dies, do something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not lifelink. Not indestructible. Has forest walk. When enchanted creature dies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then how many letters is this again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Enchanted creature dies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's likely when enchanted creature dies, or enchanted creature dies, return blank blank to its to the battlefield. It's not Screams Within. I should start guessing. Oh, it might be Necrotic Plague. Nope. End step. At the beginning of the next end step. Return card name to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. So when the enchanted creature dies, you return this to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. It's not Screams Within. Has something? Now, it could be... It returns to play. That's what's throwing me off, is returning to play. Just going to have to guess some letters here. Try and get something. IMP. AMP. EMP. AMP. Enchanted creature gets plus blank has and is what? ED. Oh fuck, it's an impetus. It's goaded because it is goaded. Enchanted creature gets plus blank has something and is goaded. Okay. So we know it's an impetus, but now I just need to figure out what the adjective is. I don't really know the impetuses that well. It's not, I think there's one called fiendish. I think there's one called vicious. Vicious impetus? Nope. Oh, this is going to be embarrassing if I don't get this. I'm just whiffing on this name. Ghoulish. Ghoulish impetus. That's what it is. Yep. All right, because this is a new one. Fuck. Death Touch. Okay. I've never played with this card. I think I purchased this card in the past 5 months, though. Maybe. The impetuses are hard. They're not cards I typically play, but they're pretty cool. I like the goated part. Not without the sauce, of course. Hello. Hello, chat. How you doing? How you been? You have a music question for me? Yeah, shoot. I have cards I'd like to talk about, but you can go ahead. We did it. That was a bit of a struggle. At first, I was hoping it would be like a Brilliant Halo style card. And I was like, oh, returns to play. Well, there's only so many that return to play, and I did not have an impetus in mind. Okay. We're going to be continuing our Foundations set review, or preview discussion, rather. Yesterday, we did white, blue, and black. Sorry, messages don't get stored anywhere. I thought they got stored in the balls. How good Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent is. I mean, I grew up with that album. and we hated it because it was popular. But then when I hated it because it was popular, and then when I got old enough, and when people were playing it in the club, and I was like, oh, this is a banger. I remember all this. It's because Scott Storch produces like a complete pervert. Like, you listen to his music and you're like, oh my God, this is the horniest instrumental I've heard without having to resort to the bed creaking of like Big Sean's tracks or whatever. And that's how you know it's good. 50 Cent was one of the first rappers, not one of the first rappers, but was like a really big popular rapper that really played into like that LL Cool J kind of like your girl wants me sort of thing. Anywho, enough of that history. We did White, Blue, and Black yesterday. That VOD is up on YouTube right now. And you can watch that if you would like. I'm going to be going through red, green, multicolor, colorless land, as well as a couple of the cards in white, blue, black that were previewed after we finished the stream. Pretty straightforward kind of setup. And this time I would like to cube draft. The plan is to also do some vintage cube drafts after the fact, because I am fiending some vintage cube. And I would like to do all that. So without further ado, let's talk about Magic cards. The first white card that we have that came out after the stream is Celestial Armor. 2 and a white for an artifact equipment with flash. When this equipment enters, attach it to target creature you control. That creature gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Equipped creature gets +2/+0, has flying, and equipped for 3 and a white. So I don't mind this card actually for like a Gladiator equipment deck, the like Gladiator Boros or Jeskai equipment deck, because that's just a deck that needs, like, obviously paying 3 mana for an equipment is not great. One that can equip immediately, pretty cool. One that can also protect your creature, pretty cool and good. And one that you could just like push through damage as well if they're not expecting it, or just use it as like a sorcery speed. Like, this card could just be like Angelic Blessing of like, play this, give this flying, smash. It's pretty nice. Like that, this is adds a dynamic to this, to that equipment deck that we don't really have. And so that can kind of like play against a bit of a pricier equipment or pricier mana value here. The equip cost is very big, but there are quite a few cards in that deck that look to just attach equipment for free. So you can get around this. Also, you're at least getting 1 smack in, ideally, right? You're at least getting the creature through 1 or 2 times off of this before you would need to re-equip it. And if you do need to re-equip it and spend all that mana, equipment with high equip costs they're a little more redeemable if when they're equipped, they provide evasion, because it's not just like, oh, I'm going to dump all this mana. Now my thing has like +3/+3 in vigilance or whatever. Just like a big stat line that it's going to get chump blocked or whatever. You can pay this mana and be like, great, I'm now going to get to push through a bunch of damage that before I wasn't going to be able to do so. So that's kind of nice. I don't think this is really going to make a splash in Highlander, although it's kind of tempting. I mean, that deck has, obviously, when you have Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Moxen, that kind of thing, you have more mana kicking around, and you have better free equip cards. That's pretty nice, but that's also a deck that, like, the slots are getting a little competitive, at least when you build it the proper way, which is my way and not Surge's way. Thank you so much. Your card quality is just so high that you probably you're gonna have a hard time finding a home for this in that. Can Sigarda's Aid give the protection to a creature that doesn't end up holding it? This ETBs, and then it attaches it to target creature you control, and then that creature gains the hexproof indestructible. This is one whole ability. It doesn't give this to just a random creature that this ends up being equipped to. Scruff back for the 66 month. Welcome back. How you doing? How you been? The stream is also cool and good. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Glad to have you. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Thank you for the support. I saw somebody ask, what is this for? We're talking about this through Gladiator, which is Arena Highlander, Canadian Highlander, which is Canadian Highlander. And then, I don't know, vibes. There's some cool stuff I just want to talk about too. Some cube stuff. Oh, this is a hell of a block of text. Hey Ben, I'm currently making a custom card set meant to be drafted as a cube with the theming of broken cards. For this I am, as the theming might suggest, customly creating some absolutely abhorrent pieces of virtual cardboard. But keeping in mind to not create non-games like turn 1 wins. Is there any advice you're willing to lend to me as obvious mistakes? I shouldn't be making things to look out for that will create feel-bads. I hope you read my comment novel. Thank you. I mean, really fast mana is not great.
Eggs, E-double-G-S eggs.
Really fast mana can lead to a lot of non-games. Yeah, don't make Black Lotus 2. If you are going to make something that is like busted or recursive, like looping things, the graveyard is a great place to have that set up with a failsafe, because it's really easy for you to also just make, you know, power creep the fuck out of Tormod's Crypt. You know, like if you're like, look, check out this time walk loop card, whatever. It's like, oh, that's pretty busted. But here's a Tormod's loop that draws a card or whatever, right? Like that can really shut it down. Hashtag not a game designer, but I don't know. I think that if you are, or make it like an artifact, do some stuff with artifacts. Those are it's pretty easy to tack on blowing up an artifact to cards where you're like, oh, that's a great way to put points into something without really, you know, pushing it over the edge. Xavier back for the full year. Welcome back. How you doing? How you been? Glad to have you, Amasa. Good to see you. Venser. We didn't talk about Venser yesterday. I kind of went through, was like, ooh, Venser, and then just didn't talk about this card getting added to Arena. Venser Shaper Savant, 2 blue for a 2/2 flash human wizard that's a legend. When it ETBs, target permanent or spell is returned to its owner's hand. I mean, back in my day, we would play this bad boy as a one of, although some Miracles pilots were more daring and they'd play multiples in Miracles and Legacy. That time has passed. But this card is genuinely really annoying. Like, if you're playing a blink deck, this card can just take over the game. If you're in a board-based format, like people tapping out for their 4-drops and 5-drops and whatever, this card is just hits the table, sends it back, and then you just keep up mana for either a blink spell on this or other counter magic, or you're just like, ha 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 ha, bounce the thing, and now I got a 2/2. Pressure your Planeswalker. Whee! So this card looks kind of unassuming if you haven't gotten to play with it, but it can be incredibly annoying. That's it for the new ones, or for the ones that we couldn't cover yesterday. Let's talk about new cards. 7 mana Chandra. Chandra Flame Shaper. 5 red for 6 loyalty legendary Planeswalker Chandra. +2, add 3 red. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Choose one. You may play that card this turn. +1, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it has haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this token. -4, Chandra deals 8 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers. Real shame that we can't go to the dome with this one, but I get it. I understand. 7 mana is a lot of mana. Like 6 mana is a lot of mana, but you can get to 6 mana. 7 mana, Jesus Christ. Holy smokes, that's some big red stuff. This first ability is just like hitting the table and then ticking it up. It's really there to be like, I'm playing this 7 mana card and I only really need to deal with one of your threats. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to add 3 mana, see some other cards, and then maybe bolt or galvanic discharge one of your creatures, right? Like that, or play like a pyroclasm or whatever. That's a pretty standard play pattern that leaves you up with 8 loyalty. I'm not super excited about that play pattern. This card hitting the table and then potentially wrathing your opponent's board is kind of neat, but I'm also not that excited about that play pattern. That's just not really how games go in Gladiator. Like, they can, but if I'm like on a big red deck, that's not really a thing that I'm struggling to find. Where this card gets really exciting for me is this middle ability. Because creating a token that's a copy of a target creature you control except it has haste and the beginning of the end step you sacrifice it, that could just kill people. Like this hitting the table and saying like, I have another Goldspan Dragon. I have another Glorybringer. I have another whatever. Yeah, combos with Felidar Guardian. That's kind of funny. That's pretty good, right? That is what I think would drive somebody to play this card. That said, I don't really want to play this card. There are 2 6-mana Chandras, Awakened Inferno, and the one that I can't remember its name, something Beacon, that is like busted, by the way. This 6-mana Chandra that like is a double vision. I've been playing it in my Rug Scapeshift Turns deck, and just like, yeah, Chandra Hope's Beacon. Like, let me tell you how good it feels to play the Chandra and then Time Walk. And I know that sounds like, oh yeah, of course, we found a way to break Time Walk. But just like playing this card, clearing the board, or even playing that Chandra and like double bolting or whatever is pretty great. Is it bad I was going to bring up Chandra Ablaze? We don't talk about that Chandra. That Chandra is not on Arena. I've played my fair share of Chandra Ablaze. There was a while where, I forget what it was. Somebody 5-0'd with it. This is back when there weren't a huge amount of like resources for winning deck lists outside of like Magic Online results. And somebody 5-0'd with a Chandra, a Chandra Ablaze, 2 of them in their Jund list, and people were like, oh, this is dope. I knew it. This Chandra was going to be great. Oh yeah, Flamecaller is the Oath of the Gatewatch one. We're going to get the Oath of the Gatewatch one. That one was okay. I imagine it's out modded by now. Like Awakened Inferno and Hope's Beacon are just so good. So I am likely not going to be looking to play this card. If you really want to play this card, you can go and play it in Big Red, or like I guess Christ, I don't know, like a big rug deck. I don't know. It's too expensive. It's too expensive and it doesn't do enough, is my opinion. But if it does set up to kill them with this, then it's going to feel pretty good. But there are other ways, like just playing another dragon with this card. Twin Flame Tyrant. 3 red for a 3/5 dragon with flying. And if a source you control would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage instead. Okay. So it's like a one-sided Furnace of Wrath. That's pretty funny. I think I'm going to play this card in Commander. I don't believe I'm going to play this card in Standard. Well, maybe not Standard. I mean, I'm probably not going to play in Standard. I said the wrong thing, and now I'm thinking about it. Gladiator. Like, maybe there's a Dragonstorm pile with this card that just means that you don't have to attack. Like, maybe there's a setup where technically this is going to make for a more optimal Dragonstorm pile. But, I'm good. I'm good. Very cool. Very cool card. Like, if I were a newer player, I'd fall in love with this thing, right? You're like, oh, it's got 2 heads and it does double the damage. Hell yeah. I mean, that could also just be me. That's also just a reasonable thing to say, even if you have been playing for a while. It's got 2 heads. How come it's not twin? I mean, when I saw twin-headed dragon for the first time, I was like, whoa. Very cool. Kellen, Planar Trailblazer. 1 red for a 2/1 legendary creature, human fairy scout. and has 1 and a red. If Kellen is a scout, it becomes a human fairy detective and gains whenever Kellen deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. 2 and a red. If Kellen is a detective, it becomes a 3/2 human fairy rogue and gains double strike. This card's fine. I mean, the like Jackal Pup that is not Jackal Pup is pretty nice. RDW is a deck that can run into a little bit of an issue against Caracas, but now with Strip being 1 or Price of Progress being 0, or just not Caracas just not being a thing on Arena, this is like a totally reasonable Jackal Pup, right? It's a Savannah Lions with upside. So I guess it's more fitting to call it a Savannah Lions. Also, just like being a mana sink, you know, that's pretty nice. You don't have to do it. You can just hold up mana. You don't want to build to the board anymore because you don't want to get got by a sweeper or whatever. And you're just like, oh, Killen's now a detective. And he gets to do things. That's cool. There's not much to talk about. I mean, you're probably going to play this on aggressive red decks. And that's it.
I wanted to ask, I forgot, did you watch the MJF clip?
No, I haven't, but let me do that right now.
It's very important.
I've been telling Kiefer sent me this MJF clip, and I was traveling, and I was like, I don't want to watch this yet. I'll watch it later. And now I'm going to watch it, and you're going to watch me watch it. Okay, MJF's in an arena. And there's a bunch of faces, and he's in front of an American flag. An American flag with his face on it as the stars.
All the stars. It's
All the stars. That's good. Okay, that's very good. That's very good. That's very good. Oh, wait, hold on. This card's in English. Electro Duplicate. 2 and a red for a sorcery. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it has haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this creature. Then flashback for 2 red. I'm a sucker for this type of card. I'm a sucker for like a heat shimmer. And this just has flashback, lets you do it again. I know that this is showing it with a dragon, which is pretty cool, but I kind of just want to... I would rather just play this with more combo-y shenanigans. I'd like to try bringing back Wizard Pod. There was a cool Wizard Pod deck that was like Rug or 4-color, and it just had a bunch of like combos involving wizards and dual caster mage and taking infinite turns and all that. And I think now we have like a pretty reasonable chunk of cards that can reinforce that package and that combo. And this one just has like a reasonable kind of ability, right? Like, yeah, you just get to, I'm going to copy my Archaeomancer or time. I mean, we don't have Archaeomancer yet, but God, please give us Archaeomancer sooner rather than later. Copy my Timeless Witness and return a thing, or copy this Dual Caster Mage and go off. Like, that's kind of cool. Storm Splitter could be in that deck too. It's something that existed with worse cards when everybody, at a time where everybody still had access to Swords, Bolt, and Friends. And now it has better cards and better mana. So I'd be interested in taking a look at that again. Yeah, I guess I would. I mean, in Commander, do you know how much damage you could deal if you copied, if you targeted a Ryusei? Ooh. This is a fun one. Oh, I did the image. This is not how I usually do my streams here. Slagstorm. 1 red for a sorcery. Sorcery. Oh. My sweater has so much fluff that it's creeping into my throat. 1 red for a sorcery. Choose 1. Slagstorm deals 3 damage to each creature, or 3 damage to each player. Slagstorm's kind of dope. It's a little awkward with planeswalkers. But the flexibility of like, oh, I'm a deck with dragons in it, and they don't die to my deal 3 to everything. Great. That's always nice. And I'm a deck with dragons in it, and I'm just attacking you. Yeah, take 3 to the dome. Slagstorm's just a nice little pickup to give some flexibility with what, whichever red sweeper you want to play, right? Like, I wouldn't play this in something like Blue Moon, where you are more interested in playing like Burn Down the House, Hour of Devastation, maybe Anger the Gods, that kind of card. But in like a medium red or a red X deck, like the red white mid range deck, could maybe get away with this. That's a deck that can push damage and still wants to clean up the board. Yeah, Brotherhood's End is like the best. Brotherhood's End is so incredibly broken. Broken is a strong word. But every time I cast a Brotherhood's End, I was actually talking to somebody about this in Vegas, where sometimes I judge the power level of certain cards based on how badly I want to get a German foil of it. Especially tech cards, right? Like things that aren't just, I mean, it's generically good, but it is generically good against specific matchups or board states. And just like I very quickly, after playing with Brotherhood's End, hit the point of going like, oh yeah, I need a German foil of this. This is not going to leave the like sphere of Canadian Highlander for a while. Oh my God, we're so zoomed in. Oh my God. Spear Slicer Goblin. 1 in a red for a 2/1 creature. It's a Goblin Warrior with Raid. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack this turn, create a 1/1 red Goblin creature token. What's cool about this is it's a Goblin. But what's also cool about this is that you don't have to attack with a non-token creature or anything. You just need to get this card going once, and then you can just have those Goblin tokens be attacking and then turning into more Goblin tokens. That's cool for a couple of reasons. Because one, Goblins, they often just, it doesn't matter if they die. They're like, you want them to die to trigger certain abilities that they have. You want to throw a bunch of creatures in because they're all buffed and you're going to lose some, but doesn't matter because you're just trying to push damage. And this card helps out with that. The one toughness is a little awkward. Goblins, you're getting got by Orcish Bowmasters anyways. And so like, what's one more card? I think this card is worth trying out in Canadian Highlander Goblins as well. For the longest time, I always would say that the worst part about Goblins in Canlander is that you just didn't have 2-drops. You had Recruiter, Pile Driver, and then like, I don't know, you had to play like War Leader or whatever the 2-mana, like 2/2 Battlecry Goblin was, which is like a pretty reasonable card, honestly. But, if it was anything other than a Goblin deck, you'd be like, why the hell am I playing this? But now we have some great 2-drop Goblins. Moria Marauder, Ardaz, Warren Instigator, sure. I mean, Warren Instigator's over a decade old, but yeah, Instigator was another one of the 2-drops. But what I'm trying to say was like a very small camp of 2s, You were to deck with like access to Lord of Atlantis style lords, but now we do. We have a lot. We have a lot of 2-drops that are quite good, which means that the Goblins deck can kind of trim its curve a bit and stop playing some of these dorky 3-mana cards like Goblin General and whatnot. Or we have better 2s so that you can make a genuine decision about whether or not you want to be mono red Goblins or red black Goblins. And I think that's kind of interesting. So I imagine this card will actually, now that I've convinced myself, I've talked myself through it, is that I imagine this card will show up in Canlander Goblins as well. I don't know if it's always going to be in the Rakdos version, but certainly in the mono red version. Ooh. Goblin Negotiation. X red sorcery deals X target creature. Create a number of 1/1 red goblin tokens equal to the excess amount of damage dealt to that creature. This is a bit too expensive. These kind of cards are a little pricey to get down, especially as we've seen a creep in base stats for creatures across the board. So it's hard enough to pump damage into killing a thing. Don't expect to get too many tokens off of this. That said, yeah, banger of a limited card here. This is the thing that you draw later and you're like, oh my God, I'll kill your 3/3 and make like 3 goblins. And that's dope. Very cool. But yeah, not playable for us, but it's a new card that says goblin. So I want to look at it. A Braden standard for the next 5 years. Cool. Slumbering Kerberos, 1 in a red for a 4/2 dog. This creature doesn't untap during your untap step. Morbid at the beginning of each end step. If a creature died this turn, untap it. It's a 4/2. Cool really, I really like this design, but it's not strong enough for our formats. But I really like the design of not untapping and then something dies and it untaps. It's very similar to, what is it, Chained Brute from the original Jumpstart. Yeah, the Chained Brute, the 4/3 doesn't untap and you pay 1, sack another creature to untap it, use it only during your turn. This one's kind of interesting. Fiery Annihilation. 2 and a red instant, deals 5 target creature. Exile up to 1 target equipment attached to that creature. And if that creature would die this turn, exile it instead. This is a totally reasonable card for red X control decks or red X like mid-rangey kind of decks that want to play that one like piece of removal that is always going to kill something. And get it done in a way that doesn't... I don't want to have to worry about any aristocrats bullshit. I don't want to have to worry about you getting it back or whatever. The exile in red, pretty nice, especially when it's attached to something that is going to kill Shieldred. This kills Shieldred. It gets rid of Shieldred, no questions asked. I'll take more of that for Blue Moon, certainly, in Gladiator. And hitting, occasionally just hitting somebody's Shadow Spear or Ember Cleave, pretty nice. Pretty nice. This also does like double duty against like Nettle Cyst kind of cards, or Cauldron Complete. Like this kills Cauldron Complete. That's worth mentioning. Worth mentioning. I don't think this is what it's called, but Put on Mass. 1 and a red for an instant, double target creature's power until end of turn, flashback 4 red. It's kind of nice to get more Berserk style cards. This is what, Unleashed Fury with flashback from M19 or M20. Yeah, something like that. But we just got a 1-mana double striker. In fact, I just got rid of a foil version. Me reaching to my garbage can thinking that I needed a foil copy of Violent Urge, but I already have one. Yeah, the Delirium one. +1/+0 and first strike, and Delirium against double strike. We have that card. We have Temur Battle Rage. I mean, I would love Berserk on Arena. Honestly, Berserk on Arena. Trust me, I'm not going to do anything bad with it. If you really want more of that kind of effect, this is a totally reasonable one to play. But it's not a huge, it's like a side grade because this flashback's not happening that often, but I'm not complaining. Ahoy, Unleash Ultimate. I'm good. Oh, this one's kind of cute. Fire Spitter Whelp. 2 and a red for a 2/2 dragon with flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature or dragon spell, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. So right out of the gates, I'm going to be talking about this mostly through Gladiator, not through Canadian Highlander. But there is a version of Red Deck Wins in both those formats that is more focused on the spell slinging. It typically plays... like all the Thermo Alchemist variants. It's on both baubles. It's on like the Reckless Impulses. It's just a different approach to Red Deck Wins, especially as, again, the game has become more board-based and killing them with a Jackal Pup and Shocks and whatever isn't always going to get the job done. And that deck, I don't think, is looking for a 3-mana creature to add to that list, but... a 2-mana but for Gladiator, getting a 3-mana creature to do this is like a little bit easier to justify, right? Especially because it has flying. This card can just chip damage itself. The other ones don't really push damage. Like Thermo Alchemist is just a defending creature sitting around. Kessig Flame Breather or Fire Breather, whatever it's called, is a 1/3. There's a wall that's just a wall. Firebrand Archer, which I believe is also in the set, is a 2/1, and that's like one of the best ones. And Erebor Flamesmith, I think is the name of the Lord of the Rings one, is also a 2/1. So like those can actually attack, but X ones don't attack super well. But this one can at least chip in the air, which is nice. I think that's cool. I think it's worth a shot. I'm not going to say like this is a slam dunk in this deck, but there is a deck that exists that is willing to take in more cards with this type of effect. And it's kind of nice that they have something a little thicker on the curve too. Oh my God. Shivan Dragon's an uncommon. Ooh. Second Right's an uncommon. Ooh. You're able to record more or less our panel. We got to record an intro explaining why I was cut off a bit and we're good. Yeah, I can do that. Second Right we already have on Arena. But that's very funny that this is an uncommon. People are going to die. This is now a thing that you'll have to think about in Limited. That's so funny. This one is huge. I mean, this is we've been waiting for this for a long time, Arena players. Burst Lightning. 1 red for an instant with kicker for 4 generic mana. Burst Lightning deals 2 damage to any target, and if that spell was kicked, it deals 4 damage instead. Banger. Absolute banger. TTBB. Top to bottom banger. One of the best shocks to ever do it, if not the best shock to ever do it. And I'll say that. I'll get it out there. You know, playing with fire, really powerful shock. But this one, ooh. I mean, this one is a shock in the streets and a lightning blast in the sheets, you know? This one's great. Play it in your red decks. Like, honestly, this card might be reasonable for like a red X, like a Jeskai mid-range or something going even a little bit bigger. Like even like Blue Moon, if you need more cheap interactive spells because you get overrun by like the 1-drops, 2-drop decks, this card could just summon. Oh. Doing okay? Huh. Bloody Canadians, how dare you not be in one extreme or another. P.S. Thanks for existing and doing all you do. Especially losing to Surge? Okay, I'll take the $10. I'll say thank you for the $10. I'll say thank you for the kind words. And you know what? Maybe I wasn't letting it on. I'm doing pretty good. But I'll never lose to... Did I lose to Surge? No, the one... There's a new North 100 that went up today. New North 100 Showdown. I do not remember this being recorded. This must have been the last recording after, like, a massive day. Like, this must have been, like, the 5th recording of a day. Yeah. Oh, it was against Nelson. I mean, no spoilers, but I hope I kicked his ass. Probably did, usually. Thank you so much, Unleash Enlightenment. Unleash Enlightenment. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Don't look at that. Don't you dare look at that. Red cards from Jumpstart. Gornog, the Red Reaper. 2 and a red for a 2/3 legendary creature. Minotaur Warrior. Haste. Cowards can't block warriors. Whenever 1 or more warriors you control attack a player, target creature that player controls become a coward. Attacking warriors you control get +X/+O, where X is the number of cowards your opponents control. This card's pretty good. I'm going to do a very quick search of warriors that see play in RDW, or medium red, or schmedium red. There's a couple, right? There's the Zendikar Rising one. There's On-Crop Crasher. Actually, you know what? We can all do this together. I mean, Falcon Wrath Pick Fighter, occasionally Cacophony Scamp and Fireblade Charger, and Exuberant Fusling, depending on how aggressive you are. Bushwhacker, I'll get to you in a second. Don't you worry, bud. Zergo, Ash Zealot. There are more sneaky warriors than you'd imagine. Kenra, Embereth Challenger, Crater Maker, Mulder, Kargan Intimidator. That's the one. Ooh, Kenra Spell Spear. Oh yeah. Oh, we've got warriors for days. Rada's Firebrand. This Ape. On-Crop Crasher, which I already said. Pretty sure there's another 3 that's... Yeah, Death Greeter's Champion. That's the one that is like legit So good. Rabble Master as well. You get the picture. Lelia. We got a lot of warriors. Even Professional Facebreaker. There's a lot of sneaky warriors in medium red and red deck wins. And so this can be pretty good, especially against an opponent that doesn't have too many creatures in play, or if they just are trying to challenge the board as a way to not die against you. It does get Caracas and Highlander, but you know, you are medium red. You play Strip, Wasteland, Blood Moon, Magus of the Moon. You'll figure it out. And then also just like this, if your opponent has a creature and you play this tap and attack, that can't block. It's now a coward. This is going to become a 3/3. But now your opponent can't play additional creatures to really stop this, because if they play additional creatures, this attacks, that new creature is going to become a coward, and then your warriors get even bigger. That is pretty good. I'm a big fan of this card. I imagine it will, yes, hello. I imagine it'll see make a splash in both Highlander and Gladiator. Y'all want to see a cat? Oh. Yeah.
And now, the stars of 4Kids will sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see?
I hope this is the kind of content you are looking forward to. Oh, baby. Oh, my baby. Oh, my baby. Okay. Yeah, okay, bye. What? Oh, you want more scritches. She wanted more scritches. Mia Bite, thank you for the raid. How you doing? How's everybody doing? What up? What up? We're talking about Magic the Gathering cards. New ones. And I'm hugging my cat. And in classic Mulder fashion, the name of my cat, she, when I put her down, she yelled at me and then came back and got more scritches. Yeah? I think she missed Big Dad. That Ben kid, welcome back for the 45th month. What up? How you doing? How you been? Thank you so much for the support. Glad to have you. Good to see you. We just finished talking about Corn Dog here. Nope, don't look at that. Don't you dare Google anything. Nope, don't look at that. Ooh, this is a reprint, but it's a new one for Arena. So let's talk about Rionya Fire Dancer. 3 red for a 3/4 legendary human wizard. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create X tokens that are copies of another target creature you control, where X is 1 plus the number of instants and sorcery spells you cast this turn. They gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. So remember that aforementioned Wizard Pod deck? Huh? Pretty good. Making a copy of the Archaeomancer at combat and smacking in and then time warping. Not bad. And it's a wizard. Ooh, let's go. What is the name of the pod? The Kaldheim pod. Does anybody remember? Is it Forge? Pyre of Heroes? Is that it? It's not a Forge. I think Forge of Heroes is a different card. Forge of Heroes is the land, right? Pyre? Yeah. So you pyre into this wizard? Ooh, or you're human into this? Ooh, okay. Wizard Pod. That's going to be my... When this set drops, Wizard Pod. That's what we're going to be building. It is a 5 mana creature. So, like, this is in your deck. You will maybe cast it, but you're mostly hoping to either Vanifar into this or not Heroes Podium. Pyre of Heroes. A new Lathless art. Frontline Heroism. 2 and a red for an enchantment. When Frontline Heroism enters, you create a 1/1 red soldier creature token with haste. Whenever you cast the spell that targets only a single creature you control, create a 1/1 red soldier creature token with haste, then copy that spell. The copy targets that token. I think this card's pretty good. I think that if we're playing this card, we are playing this in like a pump spell deck, right? We're playing this in like Naya, red, green, or red, white prowess. For Gladiator, I think 3 mana is a bit too much for that deck in Canlander, because that deck in Canlander is like kind of playing a Delver game until all of a sudden you berserk them and kill them. Or you Ancestral Recall like twice. And so in Gladiator, this is kind of nice because it triggers prowess by itself. And then you get to just ensure that, like, if I giant growth my thing and you have the kill spell, hey, I'm still getting a 4/4 haste creature out of it. And then if I go to Blossoming Defense my thing to protect it, then boom, now I got a 3/3 haste creature in addition. Like, this isn't once per turn. It's not the first spell, and I think that's pretty great. I'm very excited to play this card. I imagine it's going to be pretty impressive. Yeah, this could pop off with auras, right? Yeah, this could pop off with auras. Sure, why not? Charmbreaker Devils. Ooh. Dropkick Bomber. 2 and a red for a 2/3 Goblin Warrior. Other goblins you control get +1/+1. Pay a red. Until end of turn, another target goblin you control gains flying, and when this creature deals combat damage, sacrifice it. It's just Goblin Balloon Brigade kind of card. That's very funny. And it's like, yeah, it's a Goblin Arsonist that's getting kicked. I like this card for Gladiator Goblins, not Canlander Goblins. Canlander Goblins, this is just kind of like a adaptive automaton sort of card, and I don't think we're playing adaptive automatons anymore. But for Gladiator Goblins, you want more of these because we just don't have the same density, and you typically play the 1 mana ones that we were talking about earlier, the Fireblade Charger, the Cacophony Scamp, all that stuff. And so when you have all these creatures that when they die, they get to dome something out, this is a pretty fun way of making sure those creatures get to connect for damage, and then they just sacrifice and shoot them for even more damage. Pretty cool. Oh, I closed the wrong window. Pretty cool. Don't know what this card is. Sandstorm Crasher. 3 and a red for a 3/4 Minotaur Berserker Wizard. Trample. You may exert Sandstorm Crasher as it attacks. When you do, create a tapped and attack token that's a copy of target creature you control. Sack the token at the beginning of the next end step. Okay. Too slow. Ooh, Zada's back. We already have Zealous Conscripts, but Zealous Conscripts. General Crete, the Bolt Bringer. 2 and a red for a 2/2 Legendary Goblin Soldier. That says whenever one or more goblins you control attack, you make a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. And whenever another creature you control enters, General Crete, the Bolt Bringer, deals 1 damage to each opponent. That's kind of cool. Again, something I'm more excited about for Gladiator Goblins. I don't know if this is something I'm that excited about for Canlander Goblins. Maybe. Like, I mean, it's pretty good with Gut. Having an Impact Tremors on a Goblin is kind of nice. Like, when Agate Instigator was previewed, and it was like, oh, why isn't it a Goblin? Well, because it's on Bloombro. The fact that this hits the table, and then you can immediately, if you have another Goblin, which you're a Goblin deck, so you probably have other Goblins, you immediately get a Goblin, assuming you have something else to attack with, and then they immediately take 1. It's pretty nice. And not to mention, you're a deck with a bunch of Lords, and you're a deck with a bunch of cards that get to, do things when other creatures die or ETB. You're a deck that wants to push damage, even if it means losing some of your creatures from time to time. Yeah, actually, you know what? I've changed my mind. I think this card is probably just good enough for both Canlander and Gladiator. The art, I mean, people are pretty poo-poo on the art, but I think that speaks more to the fact that, I don't know, when it comes to anime art, it's just, if you can't goon to it, people seem to hate it. It's a weird crossover. Very weird. It's a very, very weird set of circumstances from the pro-anime, anti-anime, like, crossover crowd. Goose Blast for the 34th month. Welcome. Deeply good. Yeah. As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, yeah, it's, you know. Goose Blast for the 34th month. 1,000 blessings to my hero, Wrapped You. Thank you so much. Glad to have you and good to see you. I'm glad that Wrapped You is fully protected around the scariest time of year. Anap Vizier of Hazaret. 2 in a red for a 4/2 Jackal Warrior with Trample. It's a legendary creature. You can exile it as it attacks. When you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. It's a 3-mana creature that dies to shock, that can't attack the turn it comes into play, and doesn't buff anything else. So unfortunately, no. Oh, Battlecry Golem. I mean, we already have it, but this card's great. Cool Beetleback Chief art. Blood Feud. The Brothers Yamazaki. Seitaro and Shujiro. Finally coming to Arena. Although, unfortunately, you can't have both of them as your commander on Arena. Cleon Merry Champion. 2 in a red for a 2/2 legendary human soldier with double strike. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Cleon, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until the end of your next turn. It's not great. It's a little slow. It's a cool set of abilities that tend to work well, right? If we're like a prowess deck or a double strike deck, we're probably playing a bunch of cheap spells to trigger heroic, and then if we exile something, well, we're likely exiling another cheap spell to keep the train going, because it's not once per turn with heroic. If you are like more familiar with Valiant than Heroic, Valiant is only the first time each turn, and Heroic is unlimited, but only spells that target it. So yeah, it's a good set of abilities, but it's just a little too slow and vulnerable for me. Oh, we talked about this dragon. Goblin Surprise. This one's kind of funny. I actually don't hate these cards in Gladiator Goblins. 2 in a red, instant, choose one. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn, or create 2/1/1 red goblin creature tokens. It's like the, you come across a pair of goblins from AFR. It's just redundancy on these kind of effects. Like really help reinforce the theme of the goblin deck. Like if you are a goblin deck with a bunch of these like trumpet blast kind of cards and token generations as opposed to some of the other goblin cards you're playing, then you know, yeah, it's you just have more ways of pushing through damage or more ways of just instant speed building the board. Not super excited for this card in Canlander, but for Gladiator it's totally fine. Evora Insatiable Air. 1 in a red for a 1/1 vampire warrior with trample. And when Evora enters, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a blood token. Whenever you discard a card, put a 1/1 counter on Evora. I genuinely really like this card. I think that it is going to be an interesting card to play around with. I think there's a lot of space in the black-red. I don't want to use it Madness because it's all the Madness cards kind of suck, but in the like black-red churn through your deck through cards like Inti and Veronica and Party Thrasher and whatnot, like there are a bunch of overlapping synergies that can really just get you the cards you need on, and they're attached to bodies that are totally reasonable, like Blood Tithe Harvester and friends. And being a cheap threat that comes into play with a way to already pump it or a way to already trigger some of your other cards that has trample and that can grow is pretty great. Yeah, I'm excited to play with this card. Volley Veterans reprint. They won't let us have any fun. ETB exile the instant or sorcery card, cast it next turn. Until the end of your next term is interesting. But it's not letting me time walk. Hey, wait a minute. Why can't I time walk? Worth noting, is this... Oh, no. The Krenko's command's on Arena. Yeah. Krenko's command is indeed on Arena. Kiln Fiend, also, I believe, on Arena. You may cast that. Oh, wait. You exile it and then you cast it. Oh, so you can. Yeah. It's not... okay. I should have actually read this card. One more for Wizard Pod. That's all I care about, baby. One more for Wizard Pod. Scholar of Combustion. Best card in the set. Best card in the set. Hands down. Hands down. 3 in a red, 3/2, Human Wizard, ETB, exile up to 1 trinket instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. You can cast that card until the end of your next turn. Actually, this is super dope. You get this into play, exile that Time Warp, and you just go, yeah, all right, your turn. Your turn. And then, boom, you pop off. Yeah, I really like the artwork, too. I'll play this card. I will legitimately play this card in Gladiator. I like that Goblin Smuggler artwork. Oh, what the fuck is this? Oh, it's an Ixalan Goblin, right? Goblin Fireslinger used to actually see play in RDW. It's new to Timeless, which means it's new to Arena. This card is not that bad in Red Deck Wins. Like, unironically. This card is not that bad in Red Deck Wins. It's probably power crept by now, but this card is really annoying. Like you play it and you're on a timer. Just bow, bow, bow. Yeah, this is a reprint. It was in M12, I want to say. It saw standard play. 13 years ago. Oh. Dragon's Fire. Come on, get to the good stuff. Well, that's nice. Oh my god, they're roommates. 1 in a red instant, 1 or 2 target creatures each get +2/+1 until end of turn. With you by my side, I am unstoppable. Now, we do have the better, like there's the one from Aether Revolt, which is +4/+0 and trample, or 2 things get +2/+0. But I mean, the power of lesbians might just be greater than trample. I'm not the right person to ask, but last I checked. All right, now for something that I'm genuinely more excited about than most cards in here. Goblin Bushwhacker. 1 red for a 1/1 Goblin Warrior with kicker for a red. When this creature enters, if it was kicked, creatures in control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. I don't care. I'm going to use a mythic wild card on Goblin Bushwhacker and be happy about it. This card kills people dead. And it's a lot better in non-Goblin decks than you would expect. In Goblin decks, obviously, it's great. You go wide, you play this Bushwhacker, they're fucking dead. If you are playing like a token strategy, or even like a red-white aggro deck, or just mono-red, like this is totally reasonable. Yeah, it's coming to Arena. Yeah, great card. Really good card. And then, oh yeah, we have the starter collection. Oh yeah! Oh hell yeah! Ball Lightning is coming to Arena. 3 red for a 6/1 trample haste. At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this creature. You mind if I flex? Mind if I flex a little bit? Actually, this isn't that much of a flex. This is kind of a flex, but it's also a great instance of me getting humbled. Let me find it. Yeah, this is a great instance of me getting absolutely humbled. Are you going to open? Where are you going to open? Yeah, you're going to open there. Okay. Well, that kind of spoiled the thing, but that's okay. Maybe some of you didn't see it. I was talking to somebody about pre-modern, and I was like, yeah, I got my set of ball lightnings from the dark for pre-modern. I really like the dark ball lightning. I think it's a Quentin Hoover. It's just, that's so much damage so quickly. Love a ball lightning, you know. Absolutely love ball lightning. And the person I was talking to was like, oh, that's dope. Hell, like they were genuinely excited. And then they were like, hey, check this out that I actually just picked up. And then they sent me this. And they were like, yeah, this is my 4th of my complete set of DCI foil miscut ball lightning signed by Quentin Hoover. And I don't think I've ever been more humbled. You know, I don't have the best collection in the world. I think I have a really nice collection. I like my collection. It's built around the things that I like. But sometimes I wasn't even trying to like, yeah, check this out. It's dark ball lightning, because dark ball lightning is whatever, right? Like, you could just go to cardkingdom.com and buy this for like maybe, I don't know, $15 or something. # sponsored. But yeah, then I just got like DCI foil miscut Quentin Hoover signature. Oh, Jesus Christ. Absolutely brutalized. But ball lightning. Ball lightning is an interesting card. Because it is a lot of damage. However, it's a lot of immediate damage. Doesn't play super well into a lot of cards that have been printed in the last couple of years. But you know what? I'm not going to tell you. You are going to die to ball lightning. You will die to ball lightning. It will not be optimal for your opponent to play this ball lightning. It's very unlikely that that's the case. But you will die to this card. And you will just have to sit there and deal with it. And I'm so stoked that this is a card in this set. Like, new players sitting down and learning about ball lightning. Oof. Also, the fact that there's ball lightning in a 1-mana double strike card in standard. That's kind of dope. Did we get... I feel like we got Harmless Offering, right? Like, we got this with SOI Remastered? Yeah, okay. Onto green. We're done with red. The new white reanimation spell, but that makes it come back tapped, which is a little unfortunate. We have Doubling Season already, which is very funny. You thought the banning of Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus cost the secondary market a lot of money. Do you know, stores live and die off of Doubling Season. So many. I mean, maybe it's just going to hold its price. Great. Glad of it. If Doubling Season holds its price and it's still something you could pick up in standard legal product, this is so good for me trading this for ginger ales or whatever. So good. Oh, this is not English. I like this card though. Soul Weaver. Not just because it's a spirit. 2 and a green for a spirit spider with reach. And whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Yeah, I don't really like it's a spider with lower toughness than power, but here we are. I know there's what is it? Needle Spire Spider or whatever. The 4/2 from Future Sight, but you know. Also, there's Llanowar Green Widows. Llanowar Green Widow of the Llanowar Green Widows. But this card's pretty good. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you reveal cards on the top of your library until you get a creature card. Put it into your hand. Like, you know, playing this on curve in like a Stompy deck. I'd give this a try in Mono Green Stompy. I played it recently. It was pretty good. It was a very unpopular VOD, which... it's very funny. I would have assumed people like Mono Green Stompy, like enjoy watching it because it's just good old fashioned magic. But nope, didn't seem that way. it's a little awkward because like this is a stat line that just draws the ire of everybody, where it's like, oh, I could just bolt it. Oh, I should just kill this. Oh, I could block this. So you're unlikely to actually get this to trigger, but being able to play this and then swing with your other things, and maybe they're going to think twice about blocking, is kind of nice. But also, if you were a green, like aggressive, cheap creature deck, if I attacked you and I had open green mana, you're probably not blocking anyways, because you're going to get blown out. So it's a little weird. Definitely not for Canadian Highlander. Maybe for Gladiator. Kind of stoked to play with this in Commander, though. I will say that. I don't talk a lot about Commander in these videos because it's Commander. You can do whatever you want. But I'm like, this with a sack outlet, sheesh. Like this can do some gross stuff. It can draw you a lot of cards. Oh god, Scavenging Ooze in Standard for 5 years. Mossborn Hydra. 2 and a green for a elemental Hydra with trample. This creature enters with a 1/1 counter on it, and landfall. Double the number of 1/1 counters on this creature. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's pretty good with fetch lands in our format. I would be interested in trying this in the counters deck, maybe even the mono green Stompy deck. Like this card can get out of hand very quickly. Even like a lands deck, like a lands mid-range deck in Gladiator, right? Like if you get this out with acceleration and then just play like a fetch land, or just put counters on it through other means, this can really get out of hand. I don't know if lands loves this because it's purely an aggressive creature. Typically the lands decks, they like it when their pressure is from something like a Tireless Tracker that provides additional value as well, and does some other stuff. But yeah, there is kind of a league of green creatures that get bigger with landfall through 1/1 counters. Like Bristly Bill, there's a better Bristly Bill in this set. Undergrowth Champion, my beloved. You know, got some cool stuff. Cool card, will kill people. Yeah, Springheart Nantuko. Elvish Archdruid for 5 years with Llanowar Elf. I'm going to have to play some Standard. I mean, I've been enjoying Standard. I've been playing Standard on Arena. I might have to play some Paper Standard. I might have to bug some local shops to run like four stakes Paper Standard events. You're giving me Llanowar Elves and Elvish Archdruid? I'm going to do so much hoof math, you wouldn't believe it. Inspiring Call we already have. Neil Toothpack we already have. Ooh, you know, I don't actually think we have Overrun proper on Arena. And this card is a real deal Magic card. The kids do not know. You do not, you folks do not know. Because like when was the last time Overrun was in a standard legal draft environment at Uncommon? I'm going to take a look. My guess is M12. Got it in one. Yeah, M12. This card, yeah, it kills people. I mean, maybe things have changed. I don't know. You still lose the game. You go to 0 life. Yeah, and this card is genuinely not that bad and constructed. Like if your deck is built around doing this kind of thing, this will still kill people. This will still kill people. Yeah, Overrun's a weird card where you can't realistically print it at Uncommon because it's too good at Uncommon. Or it was too good at Uncommon. It was just always like a first pickable card. And then if you print it at Rare, people are just like, oh, it's the Overrun at Rare. Like it just won't, I'm not going to play it anywhere else. And like some of them are good, right? Overwhelming Stampede. The others. Yeah, this card might be worth looking at for certain green creature decks in Gladiator. Like this card, it will kill people. Overrun is a real Magic card that kills people. Elvish Regrower, not a reshower. 2 green for a 4/3 Elf Druid. When this creature enters, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. They won't ever let me have fun. I do like Golgari Finebroker. That deck, oh man, I had so much fun during that PTQ season with the Finebroker Eldest Reborn, and now we have it again. Although that was a 3/4, but was very difficult to cast. They won't let me have fun. They won't let me return time walks. Please ignore the fact that they gave me an additional time walk this set, as well as that we already have like 4 different Timeless Witness, Eternal Witness style cards. Yeah, it's an elf. I think it'll likely see play based off the fact that it's an elf. And that's it. If it wasn't an elf, I don't think this would see play. But it's an elf, so it's going to see play. Oh, Blanchwood Armor? Surely Blanchwood Armor was on Arena, right? Yeah, it was in Brothers War. Okay, good. Giant Growth? Llanowar Elves? Oh, yeah. These 3 cards, Llanowar Elves, Giant Growth, Blanchwood Armor. Oh, yeah. And Overrun. Man, I'm so excited about this set. Not just for myself. There are a lot of cards and strategies in this set that I'm excited to play with again and to see how they interact with some more modern designs. But like, damn, to know that there are going to be a generation of new players that get into this and get to actually jam with these cards, that's dope. That's exciting. Yeah. Magic is a lot of things to a lot of people, but this is what Magic was to me and is to me in a lot of ways too. So it's nice to get to share that, you know? Yes, I've seen second rate. Herska Sweet Tooth. 2 and a green for a 3/3 legendary bear. Whenever Herska attacks, you create a food token. Whenever you gain life, you may pay Hybrid Selesnya. When you do, target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained. Very cool build around. I love this Magic card. Not playable in the formats that we're talking about. It's a legend without an ETB that dies to Bolt and friends, and does not give trample or anything like that. But that doesn't matter. This card is just dope. Yeah, it's just a dope Magic card. It's just Winnie the Pooh. And the 100 Acre Woods. Oh, bother. Good bear. Shroofus Sproutsire. 2 and a green for a 1/1 legendary creature, Sapperling. Trample. Whenever a Sapperling you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green sapling creature tokens. The fact that this makes other Sapperlings, which can then make other Sapperlings, is pretty gross. This can theoretically get out of hand pretty quickly. Thankfully not in our formats. It's, again, legend, too vulnerable, not enough support. Love that it's a 1/1 trample. You know, just begging you to like figure out how, like, you see this and you're like, if you're a newer player, right? You see this and you're like, why does this have trample? How do I make it so this trample is relevant? I'm going to play pump spells. And then you're like, ooh. And then if I giant growth this, I get through for more damage and I get more Sapperlings. That's dope. That's a cool thing to push for. Yeah, I'm going to put Blanchwood Armor on this. Aspirational gaming. Love it. Love to see it. Respect. I don't. I probably should. That would be good. That'd be very good. Respect. Scythe Cat Cub. 1 and a green for a 2/2 cat with trample. Whenever a land you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. If this is the second time this ability has resolved, double the number of counters on that creature instead. So I said this was better, Bristly Bill, and I do think it is better, but likely you're just playing both of them. They're so good. This card is so good. It's just, yeah. Yeah. I do really enjoy that with fetch lands.
Nice
like
moves, Wheeler, but no banana yet.
the first fetch land is just like, all right, play my fetch land. Put a 1/1 counter on this. and then crack the fetch. And then now I have 2 counters on it. And it just like it just gets that done. That's pretty funny. Yeah, landfall aggro. Man, my landfall aggro deck, my Agrolome Canlander deck has gotten so many tools. I really like this deck. It's a lot of fun. Just getting to step links people into the dirt. Wow, I last played this 5 months ago. Elric, thank you for the 1,000 bits. That's very kind of you. Happy belated birthday. Oh, thank you. I watched your plushy percent of TCG shop after Is This Your Card, and it got me to play it. Glad of it. I should really keep a collection of all these to show companies, being like, see, I got people to play your game. You want to give me some money to keep playing your game? Thank you so much for the bits. It's very kind of you. Yeah, check out this. Look at this. Look at this point spread. This is God's point spread right here. Although this needs to be updated because Rendon 6 is now 1 and Strip is now 1. Landfall aggro. How many people in the game are playing Berserk alongside Zurin Orb and winning with it, mind you? And winning with it. Damn, this deck is like going to be real. I mean, real. Very cool deck. I really like this deck. It was a lot of fun. And it just killed Surge out of nowhere. Anytime I get to play Step Links, I'm in a happy spot. Getting to play the old... There was a 16 land mono white deck in that standard environment that I jammed a lot. It was... who was it? No, it wasn't Rob. Who was it? Who was the player? I can't remember who it is. 16 land white weenie Zendikar. It was like a pro tour deck. No, it was Rob Doherty. Dougherty. Excuse me. It was Rob Dougherty. Check out this deck. I don't think I played the Soul Wardens. But look at this. 4 Step Links. 4 Course Guy Fisher. 4 Knight of the White Orchid. 4 Elite Vanguard. 4 Kazandu Blademaster. 4 Brave the Elements, 4 Honor the Pier, 4 Path to Exile, 16 lands. I remember playing... Oh, that's what I did. I cut the Soul Wardens, and I cut the Elspeth, and I added 1 more land, and played 4 Devout Lightcasters in the main. Just because there was so much Jund at my local shop. And there was so much Jund at everybody's local shop, but... Very funny. Scythecat Cub. There's not much to say. This card's extremely powerful. You should play it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Forgotten Ancient. Mr. Baby Cakes. Back at it again. I don't think you should play this Magic card, but this card means a lot to me. Yeah, this is great. Yeah. Forgotten Ancient. Ooh. Actually, you know what? Hold on. How much is Scourge Forgotten Ancient? Should I buy some copies of Scourge Forgotten Ancient just to look at? $2 worth it. How much is a German foil Forgotten Ancient? How much do we think, folks? German foil Forgotten Ancient from Scourge. I usually don't buy commander cards in German foil, but I might make an exception. Okay, we have 7 and 17. 35. I have found one for €19. Closest without going over is Zai Zeron. Congratulations! Woo! Oh, this card. I was in a car with someone when this card got previewed, and I was like looking at my phone and went, holy shit. like some drastic real world thing happened, or like I was about to talk about a card that would have like competitive impact, and then it's just this because it's so up my alley. Slinza, the Spiked Stampede. 4 and a green for a 5/5 legendary creature beast. Beast spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Each other beast creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever Slinza or another creature with power 4 or greater enters, you may pay 1 in hybrid Gruul. When you do, Slinza fights target creature you don't control. Yeah. 3 mana Tephriderm? Excuse me? Do you know how many bad beasts I'm going to cast with this card? Do you understand? Contested Cliffs is going to skyrocket in price. 2 mana Blastoderm? It's a 6/6? Yeah, you're done, kid. It's over. You have no way to get around my Brontotherium. How could you possibly beat a 6/4 Brontotherium? You can't. Yeah, it's not you control. It's whenever it or another creature with power 4 or greater enters. It's so funny. It's it's just Stampy. It's it's just like opponent plays a bigger creature, you're like, oh, you want to fight, huh? No, please stop. Oh, this card's dope. It's not playable in Highlander or Gladiator. But well, maybe actually. No. But I would love to play this in Commander. Oh, this is a 5 mana card. 5 mana Centaur Scout. Power toughness equal to lands when it attacks. Nah, too weak. This card, though, I mean, it's 4 mana, but very funny name. Dionysus Elvish Archdruid. 3 and a green for a 3/3 legendary elf druid. Elves you control have, whenever this creature becomes tapped during your turn, untap it and put a 1/1 counter on it. This ability triggers only once each turn. I think this card is going to be legit for Gladiator Elves. Honestly. Maybe even Highlander Elves. I'd give it a shot. Doesn't matter how the card comes tapped, as long as it's during your turn. Being able to Heritage Druid with this, and get them all untapped. Your Priest of Titania, Elvish Archdruid, whatever, right? Being able to return it with Wirewood Symbiote to get to use it again, dope. Yeah, it's great. Card's great. For that. It's a little win more, but that's okay. You're an elf deck. You're full of that kind of card. Hey, they made a card for Paul. Hungry Mega Sloth. 2 and a green for a 3/3 Sloth Beast with reach, and pay 2, tap, put a 1/1 counter on Hungry Mega Sloth. I don't know why this card exists, but I kind of love it. Like, I'm looking at this card, and I know it's a real Magic card. And it's even a good real Magic card. Like, for a limited, standard or whatever. But I'm just looking at it, I'm like, huh. Okay. Okay, neat. Yeah, sure, why not? There's a new Mowu. This card's too big. Oh my god, are you... Oh, okay. Oh my god. I'm going to have to build beasts in Commander. Those absolute maniacs. They gave us a new version of Wirewood Savage. Woodland Liege, 2 and a green for a 2/2 elf druid noble. Whenever a beast you control enters, draw a card. Wirewood Savage. 3-mana 2/2. Whenever a beast comes into play, you may draw a card. I mean, they probably just wanted to have a version of this card without the word savage in it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna get my Tephroderms out. I'm gonna get my Ravenous Baloth. Oh yeah, it doesn't trigger off opponent stuff. That's relevant. Proper templating. How often do opponent? I guess this is also one of those weird things of like, you don't notice it's a beast until you read the card, you know? Like, beast is one of those creature types where not everybody builds around it, but beasts get put into other decks. And so, yeah, I get it. I get it. And Beast Within. Ooh. Damn. Oh, this is so exciting. I am so excited for this. Oh, I should have sent an email to be a part of the ambassador program for this set. Cuz this is making me giddy. Y'all mind if I flex a little bit? This one's not even a big flex. It's just a card that I really like. Just a card of mine that I really enjoy. Look at this. Look at this bad boy. Ooh. Ooh, look at that foil Ravenous Baloth. This card used to be, I'm not kidding, like hundreds of dollars. And I picked it up from a shop for like $5. And I have no intention of ever giving it away. Like, it is. This card's staying with me. I love Ravenous Baloth. I wonder, yeah, I'm looking it up. Is this one actually in stock? Oh, that's not that bad. Wait, what? Are you? Holy shit, this Canadian store has a foil Ravenous Baloth in stock for $27 Canadian. That's unbelievable. This card foil used to be like $100, like no joke. Gonna be buried with it? Probably. Timmy Dicey back for the 26th month. Let's go. As you can see, I'm very stoked for all this Beast support. As long as it's not Mr. Beast, I'm into it. I believe this is a reprint. Slimy Piper. 2-mana 2/1. Whenever it attacks, +1/+1. If you control 4 more creatures, it's indestructible. 4-mana card brings a friend. No. Oh, that's cute. Llanowar Elves art. Oh yeah. Go forth, Garl Vinland. You snagged a foil Krosan Warchief? Yes. 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 That's what's up. That's what's up. Go forth, green instant. Choose one. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. I kind of like this card. And I'll tell you why. If I'm playing like a red-green blitz pump spell, like looking for a whole bunch of instant speed, you know, just like make my thing bigger, basically. Typically those decks play really low land counts. And anytime you have a Lay the Land attached to, like, this is like a genuinely powerful thing to do. It's just, Lay the Lands are dope when they are flexible in what they do. And because when you need a Lay the Land, you need a Lay the Land, right? And when you don't need a Lay the Land, then you just get +2/+2 and you get to somebody. And that's great. That's it. Alessandra back for the 65th month. How you doing? Oh dear. Okay, well that explains how you're doing. Thank you for the support. I hope you're doing well. Glad to have you. Good to see you. Wait, no, this is already here, but is this a Bloomborough Explorer? Oh, That's so cute. Oh my god, those berries. Oh my god, those berries. Ooh, new Elvish Visionary art. Oh my god, those berries. The green cards that we were getting for Arena, we already have Paradise Druid. But we're getting the blue. I don't think we have Bloom Tender on Arena, right? This feels like a thing that I would have known about. Yeah, we don't have Bloom Tender on Arena. Bloom Tender, 1 and a green for a 1/1 Elf Druid. Tap, add for each color among permanents you control. Add 1 mana of that color. Bloom Tender, the impossible to keep in stock at your LGS kind of card. Yeah, this card can. I don't think we have the cards to go infinite with it, but like, well, we have Jeskai Ascendancy. Ooh, we have. Oh, is it time for me to run back the worst Gladiator deck I've ever played? Actually, is that even true? That can't be true. I think I killed people with Jeskai Ascendancy, right? Yeah. This card can get out of hand very quickly. Very quickly. Yeah, Paradork's Engine can pop off with this card. Yeah, it's a cool card to have. It's a card that I like, that I would enjoy having in the format. I'm just realizing I'm going to have to completely revamp. I'm going to have to completely rework my spreadsheet of Gladiator cards I would like added to Gladiator. Because, I mean, look at this stuff. Look at this. Look at this. I got to get rid of Condemn. I got to get rid of... I got to get rid of Condemn. I already have gaps in here. Pretty sure Bloom Tender was not on here. I'm a fake fan. This is unbelievable. Timberwatch Elf is, though. Ooh, Regal Force? I do probably need to go over this. Burst Lightning was definitely on here. Yeah. Yeah, Bob's on here. I gotta update this. That's a Colourless card. I haven't even looked at these fancy versions. Tiny Bones. Oh, she got the mask on? Damn, girl, okay. Oh, I like this cat. This just looks like Vex at Vax. Recent stream guests. Ooh, the Hydra? Mold Adder. First time it's been reprinted since M10, I think. 1 mana, 1/1. Whenever an opponent casts a blue or black spell, you can put a 1/1 counter on this creature. Not the best hate piece. That's it. All right, on to Colorless, I guess. Simone back for the 64th month. What up? How you doing? How you been? Glad to have you, MASA. Good to see you. Thank you so much for all the support. I hope you're doing well. 2. What is that? To the power of 6? Oh, we have multicolor before we get to that. Great in 1-drop only cube. It is pretty reasonable in 1-drop cube. It doesn't die to Mogus's favor. That's how you know it's good. Progenitus. Such a dope card for this set. White, blue, black, red, green for a 10/10 legendary creature Hydra Avatar with protection from everything. If Progenitus would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal Progenitus and shuffle it into its owner's library instead. You can't reanimate this card, but you can put it into play off of Sneak Attack or Smuggler's Share, and it pitches to everything. It pitches to your Solitude, pitches to your Fury. Yeah, pretty dope. Pretty dope. Yeah, we need Blazing Shoal. I think I put Blazing Shoal on my... Oh, yeah, Blazing Shoal. It's on the list. The Arena team is going to see this. Please put Blazing Shoal on. Well, now I don't think we're ever going to get it, but... yeah. You can sneak this into play in a couple of different ways. And once it's in play, it is really tough to beat. That's it. Natural Order's banned, but this is also just a genuine good Natural Order target. Niv Mizzet Visionary. Vision is scary. 4 blue and a red for a 5/5 legendary dragon wizard. With flying, you have no maximum hand size, and whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, you may draw that many cards. Whoa. This just combos with other Niv Mizzet. Whenever you draw a card, ping, and whenever you deal the damage, you draw a card. That's kind of funny. I like it that it combos with itself. Feels very, I'm incredibly smart and full of myself. You know? Sharpest mind and biggest ego. Yeah, this is like perfect. It's like, yeah, I combo with myself. Thank you very much. Probably not worth playing. It is just a 6-mana 5/5 that, you know, kind of gets mucked. If you are playing a Niv Mizzet at 6 mana, I would just rather play the Guilds of Ravnica one, which is quite good. But even then, I don't think I played that one in Blue Moon last time. But yeah. Cool. Nimbo. Motherfucker called him Nimbo. Ha ha ha. Niv has been comboing with himself since second printing, right? Yeah, probably. Firemind plus something. Alesha, who laughs at fate. 1 black and a red for a 2/2 legendary human warrior with first strike. Whenever Alesha attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it. And raid. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack this turn, return target creature card with mana value less than or equal to Alesha's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is kind of an interesting one. It's not, it doesn't have haste. It is very vulnerable. But being able to play it, attack with something else, and then if that thing dies, you can get it back. You know, usually if you're playing on curve, or you could just play it, attack with other things, and then bring back whatever in your graveyard as long as it has power 2 or less. As long as it has mana value 2 or less. It's kind of nice. And then when it does, when Alesha does get to attack, she's going to be a 3/3 first striker, which is really tough to deal with. Yeah, hell yeah. I do like this card. I like this card a lot. It's vulnerable, but when it pops off, it's pretty damn good. Alt art? Yeah, sure. I don't know where the alt art is. I have seen it. And, yeah, any... Oh, I didn't know you were in this set. I assume it's a showcase. Is it not publicly available? Is it down here? Where do I find this? I don't know where I find this card. Maybe Scryfall will have it. But yeah, any representation for older trans people, we take those. We take those. We love it. Card image gallery. This one. See, this is how you properly stab the turf. You need to go right up here. If you go down here, they might survive. You got to go right up here. Hell yeah. Teaching the younger generation. Smiles at death, laughs at fate. Is there anything she can't do? Coma, World Eater. 3 green, green, blue, blue for an 8/12 legendary creature serpent. This spell can't be countered. Trample. Ward 4. And whenever Coma deals combat damage to a player, create 4 3/3 blue serpent creature tokens named Coma's Coil. I think I would just rather play the first Coma. The first Coma is gross. Can't be countered. And then, you know, you basically just have the upkeep to kill it. This has a little bit more play against Planeswalkers or Banishing Lights and all that jazz. But I don't know. I'm just more scared of... If somebody's like, I'm casting Coma, I'm like... And then they say, World Eater, I go, oh, okay. Yeah, this one's pretty good to sneak attack in. But we have the sneak attack cards that we have now are just like, who cares that I'm going to get to make things? I'm just killing you. I don't know. I'm sure that this card will show up in some capacity. I typically like playing decks with Wrath of God, so I'm okay. I'd prefer if this one shows up. But like, it is a 7 mana 8/12 ward 4 Kappa Cannoneer ward. Can't be countered. Like, this card can kill people. This card can kill people. It's not nothing. It's not nothing. It's really just depending on, like, I don't know. I guess they both get washed by blue-white. This one's better against blue-red. Blue-black has Damnation now. Dr. Petrichor back for the 40th month. Happy 40 months to my favorite streamer. Also, hooray, more trans Repelesha is awesome. Thank you for the kind words. Glad to have you. Good to see you. Yeah. Hell yeah. And may I say fuck yeah. Why is this Kaikar from the Kaiji series? We're getting the Zawa. Kaikar who awakens the breeze. 2 white and a blue for a 3/4 bird wizard with flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, choose one of the following. Exile another target creature you control. Return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning. Onigai's trademark control at the beginning of the next end step. Or create a 1/1 white spirit token. It can't protect itself, which is a bit of a pisser. The first Kaikar at least has some interesting like combo implications. This one to me just feels a little weak. I'm not too enthused to play this Kaikar. That's it. Can't protect itself. Doesn't have combo applications. A little more resilient, but not by much. Swiftblade, Consuming Aberration, Anthem of Champions. I'm going to very quickly just... we don't need to expand this, do we? Green and white for an enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. It's good. It's a good card if you're playing tokens. Even if you're playing like a green-white creature deck, like, I don't know. Anthems are always really weird. At 2 mana, it's less weird. Especially because it is an enchantment. I mean, of course, anthems are enchantments, but there are green-white decks that care about playing creatures and making tokens, and that you can maybe like kind of fuse them with the Enchantments Matters decks. Like, it is an enchantment that's cheap that's going to buff your creatures. That's pretty good. Glorious Anthem and other Anthem effects are quite strong. There's a reason why we haven't seen them at 2 mana, or when we do see them at 2 mana, they require you to either build your deck in a very specific way, like Honor of the Pure style card, or like you have to pick a specific creature type. Honor of the Pure is not even on Timeless yet, or on Timeless, on Arena yet. Sylvan Anthem, yeah, that's like double green, and green creatures do not need to get bigger, right? And Sylvan Anthem still sees play in some of the Elves decks, right? Yeah, that's copying this with Calyx is pretty gross. I don't know. I like this card. Mind you, I like Glorious Anthem quite a bit. Nope. I'll get this right one of these days. Ashroot Animist. 2 red and a green for a 4/4 lizard druid with trample, and when this creature attacks, another target creature you control gains trample and gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is this creature's power. This thing needs to attack. If it does, adding like 8 trample to the board, pretty cool. But it's just, it's red green at 4. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's a bloated slot in Gruul monsters and red green X big stuff. Doesn't have protection, doesn't have haste, doesn't do anything immediate, and just dies. Yoink. You'll try it in monsters, but there's so many other things that you can play that just push more damage more immediately or do it with more protection. You know? I mean, hey, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I'm not super impressed. Averna is kind of a funny one. We don't really have enough Cascade to make this worthwhile, but I guess there must be a Cascade, like, or not. Yeah, is there like a Cascade Jumpstart pack then? There's got to be a Cascade Jumpstart pack then. Right, because people were talking about Violent Outburst. Averna is a nonsense card. Yeah, you're telling me. How's it going, Ian? We already have these gold cards on Arena. So let's start talking about colorless cards. This is probably the one that people are most excited to hear me talk about. Sire of Seven Deaths. 7 generic mana, no colorless pips. For a 7/7 Eldrazi with First Strike, Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Lifelink, Ward, pay 7 life. This is a pretty reasonable thing to ramp into. I'm going to play this in the Eldrazi deck, the big green Eldrazi deck I play. Just because it's very good on the defense. Like, that's an odd way to pronounce that word. It's very good on the defensive side of the game. Being able to just slam this and be like, all right, here you go. You can't attack into this. You can't burn it out. You got to pay. You've already used your spot removal. Try to get through this. It's a pretty good card. It's pretty big. If somebody takes a crack at Eldrazi, Stompy, and Canlander as well, which I think I'm pretty sure this deck is just real. Like, we have so much fast colorless mana, and we have a ton of Cavern of Souls style cards. I'm not even talking about like the big green versions. Non-Demonai. I mean, like, you are playing, you know, you're playing like the old modern deck, you know? Like, you are going into other colors. Like, you'll play the Line Breaker, you'll play probably maybe even Sky Spawner, that sort of thing. It's it's a pretty good persist target. I like it. Banner of Kinship. 5 generic mana for an artifact. As this artifact enters, choose a creature type. This artifact enters with a fellowship counter on it for each creature you control of the chosen type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1 for each fellowship counter on this artifact. Yeah. I don't know. It's like a Coat of Arms style card. Not my jam. Cool for commander and casual play. Not good for trying to kill one opponent. That's it. Interesting design, though. I like it that it's like, because Door of Destinies is one of the other ones that comes to mind. I mean, there's like Vanquisher's Banner is great because it draws cards. Coat of Arms is a little awkward because it constantly shifts. Door of Destinies doesn't do anything if you've already played your creatures. This is a way to play this, pick the type, creatures get buffed. If you lose those creatures, future creatures will also get the buff. Yeah, Coat of Arms is symmetrical and constantly shifting, which can be really odd. Coat of Arms is a fucking nightmare to track. Have you seen Commander players trying to track anything? They can't. They're not good at it. They're really not good at it. Coat of Arms is like a nightmare for them. They're like, oh, sorry, this bottle cap was actually a spirit. I thought it was an elf. And it's like, oh, so that means this is bigger and that's smaller. But wait, no, because this is also an elf. And this one's just being and this is also an elf warrior. It's being errated. So this becomes this, like it ends up becoming like it's just a mess. It's just a mess. So yeah, this is like a nice way of being like, hey, we know what you want. We know that you are an elf deck and you want to have an artifact that when it comes into play, it buffs all your elves, but you want to be able to like not get confused, not have feel bads or whatever, and have future elves be big. This is kind of a reasonable way to deal with it. I like it. And yeah, you can proliferate it and do cool stuff with the counters. I'm not going to talk about this card too much because 100 card singleton. Leyline Axe. If this card is in your opening hand, you can begin the game with it on the battlefield. Equip creature gets +1/+1, has double strike and trample, and you pay equip cost 3. That's it. It's kind of funny to play. It's kind of funny, like imagining somebody with like an academy deck or whatever, like in vintage, and you just have 4 leyline axes. You just start the game with the axes in play. New academy with them. Combo with Fervent Champion. Ooh, that's kind of spicy. Scrawling Crawler. 3 mana, 3/2, artifact creature Phyrexian Construct. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player loses 1 life. This is not a Shieldred style card. This is a commander card. Yeah, way too vulnerable.
No.
Way too vulnerable. Cute card. I'm excited to play it in commander. I'll play it in Massive Morrow. For sure. Bam Mayhem. Welcome back for the 4th month. How you doing? How you been? Thank you so much for all the support. I'm Alder. Sad Robot's back. I'll look at the full art of the Eldrazi when we get there. Sad Robot's back. Adventuring Gear, I think, is new to Arena. Yeah, 1 mana artifact equipment with landfall. Equip creature gets +2/+2 and equip 1. This card was so dope in Zendikar Limited. Mind you, Zendikar Limited was a fucking nightmare. But you throw this bad boy on a core Skyfisher, they're dead. They are dead. They're dead. Their whole family's dead. This one. I wanted to talk about this one just because I really like this card. I don't think it's particularly strong, but Fishing Rod. 1 mana artifact. It's an equipment that equips 2. Equipped creature has tap, pay 1, tap Fishing Rod. Place a bait counter on Fishing Rod. And whenever a equipped creature becomes untapped, you remove a bait counter from this equipment. And if you do, you make a 1/1 fish. Very cute, like top down, like I put the bait on this, I go in, and then I untap, and the bait's gone, but I got a fish. Very cool. Very, very cool. I don't know. I like cards like this to tell a story, you know? And yeah, there's I guess a fishing minigame. Ooh, Juggernaut. Ooh, Juggernaut? When was the last time Juggernaut in a set? I remember doing a Dominaria Remastered draft that I just had 3 Juggernauts. I was like green-white, suit up by Juggernaut. That was, I think that was the first MagicCon back. Like when MagicCon started up again, it was the first one I went to. And yeah, that was dope. Yeah, it was Dominaria proper. Cool. I'm excited to play this card in a limited environment I enjoy. Did not like Dominaria. I know that I'm like one of 3 people in the world that did not like original Dominaria. Chromatic Lanterns on Arena, but that's a cool card. Very nice art. Starnheim Memento. Whoa. This card is probably not Gladiator playable, but this is like a dope card for Commander. Holy. Although unfortunately it's only as a sorcery, so no surprise, block your flyer. 3 mana artifact, tap out a white, pay 1 and a white, tap. Target creature gets +1/+1, gains flying until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Dope. I like this card for Commander. I mean, I'd play this in like a mono white Commander deck. Like that is sneakily scary. Like, this just kills people. This one. Oh, it's Golos. Shardless Outlander. 7 mana, 6/5 artifact creature construct scout with trample and basic land cycling for 2. Okay. This goes great in my 8 land Ameria deck. Wait, hold on. I'm trying to... Let me see if my 8 land Ameria deck has... Does my 8 land Ameria deck have basic lands? Oh yeah, we got 2. Slam dunk. This deck needs to be updated anyways. Pretty sure I got a new land cycler. Also, I'll take any opportunity to show off this deck. Because it's so fun. Oh yeah, good magic. Nice 7 mana enchantment, Ben. I mean, I'm going to get to 7 mana. I always do. What do you mean explain? So you play 8 lands because you only need 7 or more planes to get a Maria going? It's pretty self-explanatory. Why play more lands when I just need a Maria plus 7 lands? I play all these land cyclers to hit my land drops. And then I fill my graveyard with these land cyclers that I get back with a Maria. It's pretty self-explanatory. Shardless Outlander's going in it. There's an Ornithopter of Paradise. Ash Barrens. Ooh, Ash Barrens is dope. Ash Barrens is, I mean, we're kind of getting ahead of the curve here. Chroma's Memorial, I believe, already on Arena. Sad Robot. Ooh, I like that Sad Robot art. I mean, honestly, if you're playing the sneak attack deck, it's not a bad one. You can channel into it. Darksteel Colossus. 11 mana for an 11/11 artifact creature golem with trample, indestructible, and if it would be put into the graveyard from anywhere, you reveal it and shuffle it back into your library. Yeah, just the coolest shit to ever exist in Magic the Gathering. How, like, I think it really speaks to how dope this card is that they made Blightsteel Colossus, right? The one-shot robot that is, you know, I'm not going to call it strictly better, but it's better in that, like, you play this card and if you hit them once, they're dead, right? Is that card comes out and this is still just the cooler version. Like, you got the Carl Critchlow art. Kudos to them for not commissioning new art, by the way. There is newer art for this. It's like a promo on something, but in the main set, like, how do you beat this Critchlow? Like, god damn, is this thing cool. I'm killing people with this card. I'm going to sneak attack this card into play. I'm going to Smuggler Surprise this card into play. I may just hard cast this off channel. I'm going to go channel Darksteel Colossus, get it swords. I don't care. It's fine. I've done my job. I've done my job. Yeah, we were just talking about this on Darksteel. And I didn't know that this card was in here. It manifested. Pretty dope. Pretty dope. Pyromancer's Goggles, also a new card to Arena. 5 mana legendary artifact. Tap add a red. When that mana is spent to cast a red instant or sorcery, copy that spell and you can choose new targets for the copy. This card is pretty strong. It's stronger than it looks, especially for just a 5 mana rock. It gets a lot of strength from the fact that you tap out for this. It's kind of like, I mean, Gilded Lotus was also there, but it's kind of like Gilded Lotus in that, like, you're probably only playing this in a combo deck or in big red if you're going to play it. And the play pattern is play this, tap for a red, and then play a lightning bolt or a flame slash or a whatever type card. And then you get to kill off 2 creatures or a big creature. So you can play it and then do a thing. And that's pretty neat. There's some pretty obvious weaknesses associated with this because, like, sometimes you don't have that. You just play this and you're like, okay, now what? But typically, if you get to untap with this in like a big red deck, they're dying. You're just casting like a massive fireball, or you're doing something. Goggles printed back in Origins. Yeah, this is a reprint, but it's new to Arena. Like Magic Origins is not on a Magic Arena, and so we're talking about it through the context of Gladiator, a format that is only on Magic Arena, where this is a new edition and thus pretty cool to mention. Oh, somebody wanted me to look at the wacky art for this card. I don't know where the wacky art is. What's this thing called again? Eldrazi something or other? I mean, I'm just gonna... No, it's not called Eldrazi. What's the name of the wacky 7-armed thing? Sire of 7 Deaths. Oh. I mean, this feels like an analog horror kind of... This feels like a... I don't know. Frankly, doesn't do it for me. I mean, this formatting is kind of dope. The artwork doesn't do it for me. I really like this artwork. I think this is more grotesque for me. The text box is cool. But I think this is more like just limbs and heads and everything sprouting from places where they shouldn't be. Is cool. No accounting for taste? That's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. I'm not saying this is bad. This does kind of just look like an angel from the new Ava movies. But this I like this. I like the body horror of this, though, like religious, you know, symbology of this. Yeah. I like this version because it looks more like the Hindu idea of an Eldrazi more than the boring full art, but I love the text box of the full art more. Yeah, the text box is better from the full art. Actually, I don't even know if that's true. I kind of don't like this text box either. You know what? I'm a hater. I think this is great. I think this is great. Yeah, this looks like the kind of thing where it's like, you know, some text will say that this is like God's perfect creation or like God's idea of beauty. And you look at this and you're just like, what the fuck? Right? This is like a Bloodborne boss that people worship. This is like seeing the monster from Cloverfield and being like, oh, I kind of wish it was a weird whale. That's okay. Different strokes for different folks. I think that's it. I mean, I could look at the new previews. Yeah, we can look at the new previews as well while we're here. Because that went quicker than I thought. We're over the 2-hour mark, but we still got time. Temples are back, but doesn't really affect us. Newest spoilers. Oh, Flamewake Phoenix! Hell yeah. Flamewake Phoenix. 1 red for a 2/2 flying haste creature. Attacks each combat if able. The beginning of combat on your turn, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you can pay a red if you do return to play. From your graveyard to play. I'm excited to try playing this card in that red-black discard aggressive deck that we were talking about. Pretty good with Hollow One. I mean, there's also a different Phoenix that's really good with Hollow One. That's pretty nice. This card, yeah, was not on Arena. Now it is on Arena, which is kind of cool. This is not the kind of Phoenix that I would play in like a... Like Detective Phoenix, you could just play in like RDW if you really want to, or Flamewake. Not Flamewake. Phoenix of Ash. Like those cards are just reasonable creatures to play. This one is not that, but if you can kind of build around the fact that this is going to end up in your graveyard and you'll have a bigger thing, then that's pretty dope. Exsanguinate. Not for me, but cool card. Raise the Pass. This is a new one. 2 and 2 white for sorcery. Return all creature cards with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh. That's cool. It's like an immortal servitude for 2 or less. Wait, this card's good. I think. Maybe it's a little win more. It's just, again, these kind of cards are always super appealing. And then in practice, you're just like, oh, I really wanted to return my extraction specialist. And then you realize that if instead you just played like a helping hand or a Savine's Reclamation and got back your 3, then your 3 would get back your 2, and then your 2 would be able to get back your 1, sort of thing. So cool concept. I don't think it's gonna necessarily be worth it for Gladiator. Maybe there's a version of Martyr or like Aristocrats where you could actually play it. I think maybe this is more of an Aristocrats card than a Ruin Your Evening or a Black-White Martyr deck. Where you're just like, yeah, I'm going to return my like Lazotep Reaver and whatever. But cool. Bullseye for the 45th month, 45 months. Well, bing bong. God, there's so many Shadowverse-esque cards in here. The artwork and the jumpstart. How you doing, Bullseye? Thank you so much for the support. Glad to have you in Mesa. Good to see you. Oh, yeah. This card's so cute. Sylvan Scavenging. 1 green for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, you choose one. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Or create a 3/3 green raccoon creature token if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. I am not going to be playing this in Gladiator, but where I am going to be playing this is I got to stop closing my Mox field because I keep seeing cards that actually make me want to, like, I actually want to add them to a commander deck. When's the last time I updated Dramoka? 2 years ago? Uh-oh. I have a Dramoka the Eternal deck where it's Dramoka Enchantress +1/+1 counters only. And more or less Dramoka's like the only creature. Because there are so many enchantments that get +1/+1 counters. Or that modify how many +1/+1 counters are put on it. And so Dramoka gets bigger. It's a fun deck to play. It's pretty cute. This would be a perfect card for it. The Sylvan Scavenging. I do like that it says like, hey, you make one thing bigger and then you can make a raccoon. And then you're going to make that raccoon a little bit bigger so that you have insurance so that if one of your things die, then you can make another raccoon. Like the decisions at the end here get pretty interesting once you can activate both. I think that's neat. I like that. This card I like quite a bit. Joust Through. 1 white for an instant, deals 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. You gain 1 life. So this fights the Elspeth's Smite kinda spot, which is a bit competitive. Although it's mostly competitive because of Condemn. Condemn gives you another 1 mana muck somebody trying to be aggressive against you, which is nice. This 1 life, I'll take it. I'll take anything. Give me any crumb I can get. The exile, though, is also pretty exciting because being able to exile something like a Skyclave Shade or a Earthshaker Kenra, or even just exiling, like, not even necessarily the white decks, right? Or sorry, the aggressive decks, like getting Mosswood Dread Knight off the board or whatever is pretty nice. There's a chance you just play all of these, and then your like removal is just all 1 mana plus the Wraths. And that'll be an interesting kind of decision tree to go down once the set releases for Blue-White. I don't think I played Blue-White for Duskmourn, so I'll be interested to update it for this. Oh, Jenny from the block? Genesis Wave was not on Arena. This card's a real deal heater if you can get enough mana, and we have green decks that can do that. X triple green sorcery. Reveal the top X cards of your library. You can put any number of permanents with mana value X or less from among them onto the play. And then all cards that weren't put into this way are put into your graveyard. It's a bit of a win more card, but it's kind of a cool top end for the green decks, like a green hyper mana kind of deck. It's pretty nice. Yeah. Wow, you have Llanowar Elf and Elvish Archdruid and Genesis Wave? This is just M13 Green Summer all over again. Is there a Craterhoof Behemoth analog in Standard right now? by chance? Anybody? Whoa, this card has a lot of words on it. Drake Hatcher. 1 in a green for a 1/3 human wizard with vigilance and prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell... Wait, no, I'm reading prowess. Yeah, I guess Tyvar is probably a good comparison because Tyvar being an elf is also relevant. Nissa's a very good overrun, but I guess I want like a body to come with it, you know? What does prowess do? Well, whenever you cast a non-creature spell. And I said 1 in a green? Oh yeah, we've hit it. The 2.5 hour mark during set review where I just stopped making sense. 1 in a blue. I'm going to get this Genesis wave off my screen. 1 in a blue for a 1/3 human wizard with vigilance and prowess. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, put that many incubation counters on it. Remove 3 incubation counters from this creature. Create a 2/2 blue Drake token with flying. No, I'm good. I mean, vigilance and prowess is pretty neat. Maybe this is fine. Like the payoff is all right. I'm just like, what are we cutting for this card in like the blue red decks or the blue X spell decks, right? Like, what are we cutting for this? I can't think of much. Just not, probably not that great. Yeah, Kitsa is more in line with what I would want for this. Cool design. Like I like the, you know, protect it, and then all of a sudden, bam, we got a Drake. Why is this art weirding you out? You don't like those eggs? I think it's the low resolution makes the eggs look like furry. Egg. This card is not great. Ooh, Dwynen? Is this the... We don't secretly have Dwynen on Arena, right? No, we don't. Okay, great. Dwynen Giltleaf Dane. 2/2 green for a 3/4 elf warrior. It's a legendary creature. With reach and other elves you control get +1/+1. And whenever Dwynen attacks, you gain 1 life for each attacking elf you control. Nice little pickup. You could play, like, if you are a dedicated elf deck and want, you know, more top end stuff to kind of supplement your elf strategy, this is a genuinely reasonable card to have do that. It's not winning too many awards, but you can get... I'm willing to give a couple extra points to elf lords that can be a little kind of clunky at times than something like the goblin decks or zombies or whatever, because like, yeah, green's in the color of acceleration and all your creatures, you want to make them bigger anyways. You have a bunch of token generation. Like a lot of the same things apply to stuff like goblins, I guess, in this manner, but the acceleration really just makes it easier to cast this card. Neat little reprint pickup. Oh, the mild-mannered librarian, legal and standard. Twin Blade Blessing. 3 mana. This one's kind of interesting. Twin Blade Blessing. 1 white for an enchantment aura with flash. Enchant creature. Enchant creature has double strike. This looks expensive, and it kind of is, but think about all the enchantment decks or enchantment matters decks that have ETBs, Constellation or Eerie triggers or casting things or targeting things. Like this will kill people. I think it's worth giving a shot in the like bestow beatdown, enchantment matters kind of aggressive decks. Just can kill people pretty quickly with this kind of card out of nowhere. Yeah, especially somebody mentions aura at a 1 mana discount. There are cards in those decks that reduce the cost of enchantments by generic mana, and yeah, I'll play this. It's nice to have, like, typically those decks want to play a bunch of 1 mana cards and 2 mana cards that are auras, because spending a lot of mana on an aura just really adds to the like, hey, you're going to get blown out by this. But this one just ends the game. This is the like, oh, the coast is clear. All right, you're dead. Oh, you budgeted to take how much damage from my Setessan champion? Oh yeah, you're dead. You're dead. What does double strike do again? Sure. So it says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Love to see Tolarian Terror and Spectral Sailor here. Ooh. Soulstone Sanctuary. I almost read this as Cold Stone Creamery. It's a land that taps for a colorless, and then you can pay 4 generic, and it becomes a 3/3 creature with vigilance in all creature types, and is still a land. Cool. It's like a Faceless Haven style card, except you can spend any mana on it, and it's not a 4/3. Oh, it's not until end of turn? Stalking Stones, you're back, baby. Ooh, okay, that's good. This card's good. This card's good. If it's like Stalking Stones, I'm sold. The kids don't know. The kids don't know. How many people have seen the Mirrodin Stalking Stones art? Because I would like to share with folks that haven't seen it. So this is the Tempest Stalking Stones art. And you know, it's got this like Clayman vibe. It's pretty like, oh shit, the land is becoming like a creature, right? But now, pure bliss. To this day, this card gets me. I played a lot of Stalking Stones back in the day in Type 2. I played a lot of Stalking Stones. It's so cute. It's so cute. Yeah, this card's pretty good. Permanently becoming the creature is huge. And for 4 mana, that's not bad. That is not bad at all. This card is a lot better, but the art is worse. I think this art is incredible. I was actually going to say that this might be one of my favorite arts of the set. I like hands. I like a lot of hands. I think it's, yeah, big fan of this. Oh, yeah. My baby is back and in standard for 5 years. Let's go. I mean, I love Meteor Golem. She's my favorite. This is Krenko Mob Boss, by the way. This is Krenko Mob Boss. That's it. Kiora. Kiora the Rising Tide. 2 and a blue for a 3/2 Merfolk Noble. When Kiora enters, you draw 2 and discard 2 cards. And has Threshold. Whenever Kiora attacks, if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you can create a Scion of the Deep, a legendary 8/8 blue octopus creature token. This one's a weird one. Like, 3 mana 3/2, not a good stat line. Just getting to Careful Study on ETB, also kind of weird. But if you hit Threshold, you just get to make 8/8s. Well, you make a 8/8. I'm going to go ahead and say no go. I mean, this card would have slapped in year 1 Gladiator. Ooh, you better believe I would have been playing this in some God Pharaoh's Gift build. Move over, Champion of Wits. I'm here to, I don't know, bring back some goofy ass card and make an 8/8. Oh, I've seen the alt art. It's Magali, right? I do. Now, I am a bit of a Kiora fanboy. I am a bit of a Kiora fanboy. It is my feelings on fish women have been spread throughout the community well. Yeah, I just don't think this card is that great. Unfortunately. Cool build around for Commander, though. Whoa. They have multiple 1/1s that bring bigger bodies. We got a couple of these. Dragon Trainer, 5 mana, 1/1 human, ETB, make a 4/4 dragon with flying. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. The squirrels. 7 mana creature. 7 mana creature to control, get +10% gain vigilance. No trample is a bit of a not great, but I do like all these squirrels. They're very funny. This one is the worm. Needle Feather Great Worm. 4 green for a 7/7 worm with trample. During your turn, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, put that many 1/1 counters on it. That's pretty strong. And you may cast this card from your graveyard by removing a total of 6 counters from creatures you control, in addition to paying its other costs. A little too vulnerable for our formats, but pretty dope for Commander. This feels like an incredibly Sheevam card. Incredibly Sheevam card. Although I don't know if he would ever cast it from the graveyard. I mean, he's in chat. He might be in chat. Yeah, you can remove, and it doesn't specify what kind. I don't know why I keep doing that. It doesn't specify what kind of counters. Just you got to remove 6 counters from your creatures. And then I think, oh yes, this card. Okay. Fiendish Panda. 2 white and a black for a 3/2 Demon Bear. With whenever you gain life, put a 1/1 counter on it. And when this creature dies, return another target non-bear creature token with mana value less than or equal to this creature's power from your graveyard to play. This is all I'm going to want to do in limited, right? Is just get the bear going. Just get that bear looping. Because there's an elf, right? There's the elf that returns the permanent to play. That's kind of fun. Safi Barrack's daughter. I think we've covered everything. I mean, I imagine there's somebody saying to refresh because there are some new cards. I will. Don't you worry. I will. From Variety. I don't know why I said that. Blasphemous Edict. 3 black for a sorcery. You may pay black rather than the spell's mana cost if there are 13 or more creatures on the battlefield. Each player sacrifices 13 creatures of their choice. Holy shit, this card is good. Oh my god, for Commander. Wow. That is really good. Also, actually, probably good enough for Gladiator too. Getting around to Indestructible is not nothing. And there are going to be cases where you will spend a single black mana against like an Ocelot Pride popping off or just against token generation or whatever. Like, yeah, I could see this as a niche card for Gladiator and as an absolute must include for Commander. This is so good for Commander. Oh my god. Like, this is so good for Commander. Yeah, 5 mana is totally fine. You'll cast it if it saves you. Zimone Paradox Sculptor. 2 green and a blue for a 1/4 legendary creature. Human Wizard. The beginning of combat on your turn, you put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures you control. And then pay a green and a blue, tap. Double the number of each kind of counter on up to 2 target creatures and or artifacts you control. Oh. That's pretty good in limited. Because it hits the table and you put a counter on herself and one other card, right? Let's say you have a 3/3, you play this on turn 4. Your 3/3 is now a 4/4, and then you have a 2/5. So your 4/4 is probably bigger than whatever your opponent has, and now your 2/5 could just block whatever your opponent has. And then next turn, you get to do it again, but on other creatures, and then you could just double those counters. This card gets way out of hand really quickly. Oh my god. Very cool card. I mean, I like Zimone as a character in the game. I don't say that about many cards, but I do like Zimone's character in the game. And I like all of her cards. She's got a whole This is what, her 5th card? Oh, nailed it. This is her 5th card, or 4th card, excuse me. Shit. And they're all different and cool. Yeah. Big into what they're doing with this character. Great. I think that's it for previews, but the stream is not done. The stream is not done. Ooh. I'm going to call the set review part here, but then we can go and play some Cube. Vintage Cube? What's Vintage Cube? There's Vintage Cube, and I haven't Vintage Cube in a while. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a very quick break. I'm going to run to the washroom and whatnot. But I mean, if you're watching the VOD, then it's over. Just look for the next VOD. Okay?